Hi, everyone who's just tuned in. This is the podcast of the Working Girl, and I have just returned after a long hiatus. I think it's only polite to say thank you to the 13,000 organic listeners, before I cut it off. And I think also to say thank you to everyone who reached out via my DMs to say what is going on with the podcast. So today I'm going to tell you what has been going on, and no better way to tell you than to bring four hot doctors, as we say, correct doctors, to speak to you about why I've been off, which is because I have been on a journey doing my PhD. So I've got four, did I say four? Actually, we're three, but I'm a doctor, so let's count myself in. So three doctors on the call. And really to say welcome, Dr. Tato Shuping, welcome, Dr. Fiona Kigen, and welcome, Dr. Libo Matubaba. So lovely to see you.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure. So we're going to go right into it. And I think first so the audience know who we are talking to. And Tato, just because you're literally sitting right beside me, I'm going to ask that you do a quick intro of yourself, which is just anything you'd like the audience to know about you.
Thank you, ma'am. And thanks for the invite. My name is Tato Shuping, based in South Africa. I am a dad, a husband, a son, and all the other things. I'm a public servant. I work for one of the metros in South Africa. Was the shop steward or employee rep, and of recent, I've just joined the board of Business and Arts South Africa. In a nutshell, that's who Tato is. Very inquisitive guy, always open to learning and meeting new people. So in a short, that's Tato.
Right. Thank you, Tato, for the intro. I'm sure the audience will find you out, in the course of the session. Can I just go over to Dr. Fiona Kigen? Fio, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you so much for the invite. My name is Fiona. I am Kenyan, but I've been living in South Africa for 11 years now. I'm a marketer and an academic. I've been in the financial services space for the past 17, almost 18 years now. And in the midst of all that, I went back to school and did my MBA. I went back to school and did my PhD, lectured a bit. I've done a bit of work with my alma mater. And I'm just a lover of life, so many different things. I'm recently a new mom. So that's my latest job. And I'm happy to be here.
Lovely, 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 lovely. And last but by no means the least, Dr. Libo Matubaba.
Thank you, Ngiru, for having me here. So I am in academia, but I come from industry before. So I joined academia about 2019. So I've got 6 years in here, still called early career academic at this point. And I mean, getting the PhD part of it. I'm a lecturer at Wits University. They'll look it up, they'll see it, so I might as well say it. And that is where I also completed my PhD. And my maybe just to say, in my field, I mean, we know where everyone works, but I'm in education, higher education, but my interests in research are in responsible and transformative consumer behavior, and pro-social behavior, sustainability issues, consumer facing. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. I told you guys that we have really serious doctors, on the call. So I think we'll dive straight into it. Look, and the purpose of this is really just to share our PhD journeys, with the working girl. And I think even though we are working girls, it's also important to get a male perspective. And I mean, when I said to someone that I was doing a PhD, they were like, you, we can dissect what that means later. But I think there was a lot of brows going up. And the next question that came through was, why are you doing a PhD? Which is where I'm starting from. And I'm going to start with Tato to say, Tato, why did you do a PhD? Life looked like, from your resume, life looked like it was going okay. So why were you doing a PhD? Yes.
My journey is slightly different. I always say it was not to contribute to knowledge or I want to contribute to this body of knowledge. It's been a 29-year journey.
Really?
Just in short. So I was part of the crew that went with my mother to a graduation party, rather a
Right.
graduation ceremony around 1995. So
Wow.
when we were, and I mean, in South Africa, we had just transitioned, right, from old government to new government. So things were more for our colleagues with a fairer skin. So, but strange enough, when we were in the grad, there was just one man who was wearing red, of my color, African. And, so as they were going through students until they got to him finally when they announced him, everyone stood up, clapped their hands. There was commotion in there. Now I'm almost 9 years, 10 years. I still not sure what's happening. So when we go out for a break, there's a bunch of journalists taking photos. Then I asked my mom, like, what's going on there? Then, like, no, go ask. So the journalists, they eventually let me in, and I asked, why him? What's the red gown all about? And he tells me, look, if you work hard, this thing can be done. So I left it there. And no, now as you grow high school, you realize, I'm not, I'm a bit brighter. Not just above average. So you
Right.
work through that process. I mean, my matric, I didn't do really good. Then went through my undergrad. I tried my honors. So when I did my honor, like actually, this thing came up again. I had seen this black man who was graduating. I still couldn't figure out what was the hoo-ha
Right.
about. Then decided, hey, let's try this master's thing. And only then I realized what it took to actually go on the journey that I planned to. Then eventually, I think I had the mental I was bold enough to say, let's do this. And not just for me, but most of my family is from Tabanshu, just
Right.
between the Free State, in the Free State province, between Bloemfontein and Lesotho. So I'm
Right.
right stuck in the middle. So part of me was, look, there are people that look up to some of us from where I am, and for me was like, how do I inspire these young people just to show that it's possible? It's not impossible. If I can do it, most can. And yeah, this is where I am. Academia will focus on it at some point. Yeah, I'm still a bit too young to go into that industry. And they'll give me gray hair again. So yeah, that's been my journey. It was really out of curiosity when I was 9, 10
Right.
years old. And it's something that stuck with me until 2023 when I finally graduated. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's why it's been a 29-year journey. So yeah,
Right.
different from your typical PhD graduate, because others want to build this
Yes.
body of knowledge. So mine was quite different. But yeah, I love working still with students, doing new stuff. So yeah, that's in a nutshell why I decided to go this route. And it also gave your name a bit of credibility. People listen a bit more. So it
The
really
prefix.
helps. Yeah.
The
Yeah. No, thank
prefix,
you.
Dr. Tato. And I think that you did have deep inspiration. It's my view. I don't know that at 9 years old, how many people are minding the red gown. I can say for one that it wouldn't have meant too much to me, but that is deep, inspiration. And I suppose also just shows depth. Thanks for sharing. Fiona, if I said to you, I wanted to do a PhD today, what starter packs, would you ask me to take along with me? What starter pack? And if you want to infuse a bit of your why in there, that would be great. But go ahead.
So mine also, when I started out on the journey, I didn't really have a very, I didn't have, how do I put it? It wasn't, it was because I had time. I'll be blunt.
Right.
I had just
Okay.
completed my MBA,
Mm-hmm.
and the MBA is very intense. It is,
Mm-hmm.
we're in class 4 days a week, 5:30 to 8:30. And then
Mm.
there's group work, there's assignments, there's
Mm.
exams, there's syndicate meetings, and all this.
Mm.
And when I just finished, there was this big void in my life. I would get home and I would watch TV. And after a few months, I was like, how much TV can one person watch? I have capacity. So I literally went for an open evening at one of the universities where they were discussing PhDs. And, when I got there, they talked us through the program. That's where I met Tato. And
Oh, right.
and they, one of the things they said is that this thing is very hard. This thing is really difficult. And, first of all, even getting accepted is so hard because we only take a very small class. And honestly, it was just a challenge. And I was like, challenge accepted. So I applied, I got in. And once I had applied and gotten and told people that I was doing it, it was impossible to drop out, even though at some point I wanted to, because now the embarrassment would be too much. So I had to finish. And I think the answer there basically is my first answer to your question, Kiru, that you have to have time, because a PhD is very intense, and none of us really have all these masses of time that are required to complete this process. I mean, they say that in South Africa to finish a PhD you need between 3,500 to 5,000 hours. Now,
Right.
those hours have to come from somewhere. That is how the NQF 10 qualification is defined. One of the definitions of it is how much time it needs to be completed. So you have to find this time from somewhere. Now, most people don't have the luxury that I had of, just, having been from this other process and just having time opened up. So one of the things you have to have is a plan on how you're going to complete those hours, because really how much time you put into it defines how long you take. And if you're doing it full time, it's possible to put in 8 hours a day and you're putting in 40 hours a week. And then when you extrapolate that, you can see you can be done in a couple of years. But if you're working 40 hours a week, you have a family, where is the time going to come from? So you really have to have a plan to say, this is how I'm going to find the time to do this thing, because really a PhD is just about immersing yourself in your study and being an expert in a very, very specialized topic. So I would say that time is one and a plan is two. And then I'd say you also need a supportive structure around you. You have to have people around you who believe what you're doing and who support you. I mean, I'm grateful that my family, all along the journey, they say never ask a PhD student how it's going. But but in being checked up on every so often, you get that motivation to keep pushing. And in my family, for example, I was the first person with a PhD, even in my extended family.
Hey, guys, we must just give her a round of applause. First in her family. Tato, were you first as well?
Yes, I was first.
Oh, really?
And actually
Nice.
now, this past Wednesday, my older cousin is also graduating, so got
well done.
letter. So
Lovely.
yeah, thank you.
Lovely.
Well done.
Lebo, we can't ask you because I'm worried that you will say you are the fifth in your family. So we're not going to ask you, Lebo. I'm very suspicious of your family. You will soon have 5 PhD graduates.
There are PhDs there, so I'm not the first.
I knew it. I'd let you finish, Fee, and then we'll go over to Lebo. You were just rounding up.
Yeah, no, I was just rounding up, just saying, you have to have family and friends who understand that you're going to be missing for extended periods of time, and that is a critical factor to success. I always remember this when I was doing my MBA, not even my PhD, because the MBA was also very intense, takes up a lot of time. And I remember, one day I was in church and one of my classmates, we used to go to the same church, and I came across him in the hallways, and he dragged me, said, please come talk to my wife and tell her how hard this thing is, because she doesn't understand. and she wants me to drop out. So please just come and talk to her and tell her we're almost done. So there I was pleading for this guy, telling her, no, just understand, we're almost there, you know. But you know, I did feel for the guy because he was not getting that support. And you know, for someone like him, you know, to even start considering a PhD is almost impossible because the master's already was hard enough. So I think, you know, you really have to align your tribe
with your journey. Yes, I hear you. I hear you well. So, Lebo, we are going to go right over to you and specifically to say to you, how would you choose the topic? If someone was listening now, how would you advise them to choose a topic? What would you say to them? And I can tell you why I'm asking. I suppose I'm asking also from my experience where I wanted to solve all of life's problem and I quickly came back down into reality. But I'll let you go for it. How would you advise someone who's listening?
So yeah, I think first things first, you're not going to save the world. And so the most important thing is to finish. And then thereafter you can then make. But I'll give you advice that I was given, and I think Nkiru, it depends from which angle you are tackling this. I'm in academia, so obviously the PhD for me has a greater implications, if I can call it that, than maybe someone who's in industry, who's gotten it will propel. So I need the PhD for progression in my career. While it might give you progress as well, I don't think it's a prerequisite or a big requirement, you know. It adds an advantage. So depending on where you're from, for people who work, I always try to think of what work do you do and what do you want to contribute in your space? Because why would you do a PhD in a field that you're not working in? Look, maybe it's your interest and you might want to delve into it at a later stage. Sure, that's fine. But I always just try to work with what you know and try to make a difference and an impact there. I think you'll get listened to even more, if I may say, because now you will speak on things with greater authority. For 3 years, you've been working on this, trust me. You know it. But as an academic, I think it was important for me to do a PhD on something that is meaningful and impactful. That's where I was, because, you know, when we do research, we live in a world where there are sustainable development goals. We have the National Development Plan. We live in our country, in our city, but we're global citizens. So what contribution are you planning to make beyond your institution and into the rest of the globe? So when you think about a topic, that is going to be globally relevant, a topic that will be meaningful. You're doing this for 3 years, hey, you can't get bored. 3 to 4 to 5 years, depending on what it is. So you got to be passionate about the topic that you're choosing, because if 2 years later you really think this thing is not relevant anymore, it's boring, or it's going to be a tough journey for you. And I must say, my study always kept me, I'll say excited with a pinch of salt, but you know what I mean. It kept me going because as I was doing it, as I talked to people, it just made them ask questions, which for me said, okay, that this is relevant. So relevance is very important. Must be relevant. It must have impact. But even for the working corporate field, it must have impact, and it must be relevant. So that's what I think goes into choosing a topic.
Okay, so I think if anyone just walked in, so she says you've got to be globally relevant and you've got to be interested in it. But Lebo, I have to say that your topic was so interesting. You spoke to us every Saturday about blood donation going, and I almost left my work and thought, you know what, guys, can we just do Fiona's work? can I join Fiona and do her work? It might be much easier. But can I join Labour? I beg your pardon. So thanks, Labour. Really appreciate that point of view. I think, guys, and anyone can take this, really, I think is what were the most challenging things for you? If someone asked me that, I would say everything, because respectfully, VITS can be a bit tough. And why was VITS tough? Because for other people, I felt like you arrived, you know, once your proposal was accepted, you went on and you could put on your LinkedIn PhD candidate. By the time VITS gave me all the knock in the world, I couldn't even write on my LinkedIn PhD candidate because I'm thinking, yo, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to finish this. So why even arouse any interest? But can anyone, you know, just go for it? What was the most difficult thing for you? Who wants to go?
I can go.
Yes,
Okay.
Labour, since we have you on mute.
Okay, cool. For me, you're right, Ngiru. It's and I mean when I look at other counterparts and it's part of the look, it's difficult, doesn't matter where you do a PhD, it's tough. But I think for me the challenge was I'm gonna call it self-learning. I don't want to say self-teaching, but what you do, you will do a couple of times, fail a couple of times before you even come close to, I don't even know if it was right, but ultimately you do come right. For me, the greatest part was Fiona always never understands why I did this, but I did mixed methods studies, you know, and I just, you know, when you feel like, did I take on too much? You know, if I hadn't done this double, I could be done by now. So it's just that keeping on going. But for me, the toughest part was dealing with concepts that you haven't done or haven't worked with before, and you really have to self-teach and confidently go there, put your work forward, be open to critique as you go on learning. So I must say, you get knocked down, get back up, get knocked down. That's the journey of the PhD. So I think for me, that was the most challenging part, the self-teaching.
This podcast is not about me, but I have a lot to say here. Tato, you were itching to go. Did you want to go?
Yeah, so slightly different. I mean, when I started the journey, there was just a lot of things happening. One colleague of mine decided to rope me into union work. I joined the union. Okay. A month later, I then got a promotion. Now there's this PhD already that I have committed to. So just juggling between those three. And I had a daughter as well, a young daughter as well. So just juggling those, very tough. But I think to my benefit, I used to stay alone. So I could, the time that I had, I could use it productively and really study. But it was painful. I was not a sickly person. Now with this PhD, all of a sudden I've got hypertension. I've got issues, gout because I eat on takeouts. Now I've got gout and all those things. So it was really difficult. And again, now you being the first in the family, now I've got to explain to everyone. I was writing on paradox theory. What's a paradox? Now, every time, before they even ask me about what I'm studying, just from the topic, now I have to always explain myself. So, but yeah, you've got to be mentally strong to pull it through. I say yes. Maybe the brains, yeah, but I think the discipline and being mentally strong for me was a bit of a challenge than the intellectual or grasping things intellectually. But you realize again, once you are in it, it's not as easy as you think it is, right? I think at some point I was about to give up, and I always say maybe Fiona thinks I'm joking, but there was a period where she carried me. There was also Dr. Gillian from Botswana. They carried me through that phase.
Right.
But
Right.
like when support, it's not just from family. I think for the people you attend with, find your own little grouping that you able to easily open up, because at times you sound very stupid, no? When you ask certain questions, so you wanted to at least engage with people that would accept your stupidity, and I think that's what Fiona and Dr. Jill did, with no judgment. So, but yeah, it's worth it. After post the period, like actually it was bad, but not too bad. I still have capacity to do other things. I think, but yeah, it's tough, and that could be an understatement. It needs yeah, different kind of discipline. So yeah.
Thanks, Tato, for the honesty, and you know, I hear you on mental resilience. Because I think even for me, I remember one day I was writing. I think I sent Fiona a picture maybe at 2 a.m. or something. And my husband came downstairs. He had come. I was writing till 12. I think maybe he went to use the bathroom and didn't find me. And he came downstairs and I was just there frustrated. And then he said to me, I just want to tell you, you know, in this family, we eat and we do other things. And it's not your PhD who's feeding us. So if you think that you're going to go crazy, just leave it, you know, just. And I'm thinking, no, it's not that bad. Don't worry, I'll crack on. I'll come to bed. But I hear you well on mental resilience, because you really need that. So Fiona, this is a slightly different question, but only because Thato mentions it, you providing the support. And then obviously you had done for me, I gave the speech at your graduation, is really around the academic space. Who founded it? Because now I've been in this helpful group for years. I don't know who founded it. You know, how did you come about the idea, if it was you? And really, how do you just know how to provide that support? And who provided in turn for you? Because you seem, on the right, everyone is saying Fiona. You know, Tato called your name. I did. Labor does. So really, you tell us who founded that space and how you know to provide that amount of support.
You know, I always get surprised when, you know, when people speak. I mean, like Tato speaks and I'm like, Tato also doesn't know how much he helped me. I mean, when I went to Tato's graduation ceremony, his graduation party,
yes, he posted
that was the first day I was able to visualize finishing. And I mean, you know, there were so many micro moments throughout the whole journey. And, you know, there were so many disappointments along the way. And we became tight friends. I remember we even did a road trip to Lesotho, Tato, just from that, you know, camaraderie. You know, it was epic, you know. And there are so many moments in that process that make you really bond, because there are things that you can only someone else who's in the process can understand. And I'm glad that I was able to be part of your journey, Tato, because you were also such a key part of my journey. I mean, like I can't say how life-changing sitting in your party was and just listening to everybody speak, including you. And it was so emotional. There were tears, and it was just an amazing moment. And for me, that's the point.
Tato, would you repeat the graduation party so that Lebo and I can come? Now it's sounding too
I've had so many parties. It was that, then this year I got married. So very soon we will just do a revisit.
Right.
No, it's
over to you.
No, it's really been a journey that has made me expand my circles. Now, the Academic Spaces group was founded by Lebo, I think.
Oh, really?
She invited me. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh,
she recruited me into that
flowers.
group.
Can you tell them can you tell listeners what the Academic Space Group is? Because next thing, people may be knocking on our doors. Hey, please tell them what the Academic Spaces Group is.
So I'm going to leave that to Lebo to explain.
Okay,
but
so Lebo,
for me, it's been a life-changing space where, you know, we've been able to connect with people from all over. Now, me, generally, I'm an extrovert. So anytime I meet someone, I recruit them, we end up chatting, we end up becoming friends. So that's why it may look like it's my group, because I've invited so many people. But yeah, I was also invited into that space. And for me, it was such a life-changing group. And
Right.
the people who are in that group have become friends. And, you know, because that WhatsApp group has been formed by people from everywhere, you never quite even know who you're talking to, except that they're a PhD
Yes.
student. It could be
Yes.
someone who's in UKZN, UWC,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And once in a while we'll meet. And then you meet, you're like, oh my goodness, you're Nkiru from the
Yeah.
Academic Spaces group. Oh my goodness. And it's like you become fast friends. So I
Yeah.
think I've been blessed to be included in circles where I've received a lot of support. And I've seen what a difference that support has made. It's that support that has helped me to come this far and to be able to finish. I can tell you that for free, because there are times that, you know, you just look at it and you just think this thing will never end. My life will never finish. I'm going to die like this. And then, you know, you start speaking to other people and then you realize these are joint problems and there's a way out. I mean, you commiserate about your academic issues, you know, your lives and this
Commiserate.
and
I
that.
like the adjective.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave to Lebo to explain the group and how it came about.
Yes, please, Lebo. Tell us, please. The founder. Lebo, you must add that in your resume. The founder of Academic Spaces, the international PhD group. Go for it, Lebo.
If it's one thing that everyone gets told or hears about the PhD, it's a lonely journey, it's a miserable journey. So that, for me, that was my one goal. Never mind finishing the PhD, it was not going to be lonely. Because that then, Tato, I think, even brings greater mental challenges on their own when you're dealing with things on your own. So I had a friend, Jabulo Raza, he was doing his PhD. I was coming into the PhD, and we were together and we called it Academic Spaces. But then you, Fiona, were in my cohort for the PhD, and I think we had been at the induction or some sorts, you know, and we were trying to find a way to group or to chat or to be in contact, you know. And so I thought, and then that's when I invited. I said, "There's this WhatsApp group that I'm having. Let's go on it." I mean, at some point, Fiona, I think if you remember, we're even doing morning Teams meetings. In that,
Serious girls.
yeah, that failed that
Serious
quickly.
girls. Hey.
Yeah, I think Mondays we were doing like a check-in on Monday. What's the week looking like? So Academic Spaces was that. And as we were meeting other PhDs, so we were inviting them, and it wasn't a closed group, really. It was, here's a space where we can talk about these general things in generic. Then there was a lady, Arlene from Spain,
Yes, I remember her.
who was on there, you know. So I think for me, it was building that community, because I was adamant that loneliness is not going to locate me during
It's not going
this
to be your
time.
portion.
No, it's not my portion. And it really was not, you know. And out of Academic Spaces grew the grind community, a space which Fiona introduced us to. I mean, there are coffee shops and then there's grind. Coffee shop. And all started at Academic Spaces, because it's a space where we were first, like you're saying, commiserating. Listen, no one understands what you're going through like people who are doing what you're doing. And so that's what Academic Space is about. And I mean, I think the world must know that we've got Desmond, Fiona, Nkiru, me, about five
There's a
I think
graduates.
couple more.
Coley. I think Coley as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes,
yes.
it's five. It's me, you, Desmond, Fiona, and Goli. There's
Coley,
five.
yes.
But there's one loading, I definitely know that, coming up,
Right,
and a
right.
couple others. So it has been a success, I must say.
Yes, it has been.
It definitely has been a success. And I think
Mm.
even in the group, which we're
Mm-hmm.
happy to say, happy to have little breakaways, because that's where
Mm.
people find people. And then, like, I mean, on Saturdays, I must say, we then used to post on the group when we are working. Talk about
Mm-hmm.
pressure. A good kind
Hey,
of pressure.
no, 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 labor, no. Especially when I was traveling. Like Saturday morning, I'll open my stuff and I'm seeing these girls, 2 laptops, stuff,
Yeah.
writing, showing. I'm like, God, I'm not coping in this group. Somebody help me. I thought I liked this group. It was a
We
lot of
boosted
pressure.
our productivity in that group. So
Yes.
look, if you weren't working, I'm sure one of those days you're like, hey, I need to catch up to these people. So that's how it started, really out of refusing to to live up to the loneliness of what this
Mm,
PhD
mm,
promises to be.
mm,
Yeah.
Thanks, Labor. Thanks for sharing. Ladies, gents, did anyone have enjoyment guilt? And you know what that looks like is you dancing in a party in Lagos, you know, and being in your element. And halfway in the middle of the dance, you're thinking, damn it, what am I happy for? My supervisor's feedback is there, full of red markers and all sorts of comments. Did anyone have enjoyment guilt? And you know, at what points did you feel them? What was that like for you? Who's going?
So I can go because I
Yes, you
definitely
go first.
felt that. But you know what I did? I tried to compartmentalize my life and to say, you know, this is PhD time, and once I've done that, I can do other things.
Hmm.
So, mornings, at some point
Mm-hmm.
we had a 4 a.m. club. We'd wake up at 4
Mm-hmm.
a.m.
Ah,
and we'd have to message each other to
ah,
say, I'm up and I'm working.
girls.
And
Mm-hmm.
there are times you wake up, the alarm clock is set for 3:50, and I'm just praying, praying, praying that nobody else messages that they're working, because then it means I don't have to. And then you see level messaging saying, I'm up, I'm working. I'm like, oh,
Always
okay.
there.
Now I can't. Now I also have to wake up. So the 4 a.m.s, we used to do that religiously. And the
Mm-hmm.
Saturdays. The
Mm-hmm.
Saturdays, we used to meet at Grind Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And I had calculated that if I was waking up at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing my Saturdays at Grind, that's enough. And
Mm-hmm.
anything else I do outside of that is fine. So
Mm-hmm.
I would be happy to go to Grind until 4. And then after
Mm-hmm.
4, I have a dinner with friends. I have this, I have that. I could go out on a Friday night to have dinner with friends or whatever is happening, knowing that Saturday is not an option. I have to be there on Saturday. And that's how I got over it. Just making sure that
Mm-hmm.
I've ring fenced that PhD time. And then I gave
Mm-hmm.
myself the freedom to enjoy other things outside of that. And I think that really helped me because I was able to then have a life still outside of there. You know what? Where
Mm-hmm.
you have constant guilt is where you're not
Mm-hmm.
doing anything,
Hey,
because now you have guilt all the time,
look,
and
look, I
and it
just don't want
doesn't
to
go away.
start. I just don't want to start, you know?
Can I
And does
add
anyone else
maybe?
want to talk about? Yes, 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 please go for it. Enjoyment guilt.
Yeah, definitely. I think my biggest enjoyment guilt was when I'd go on holiday, I think,
Yes.
but it was also that much understanding that I need the time. I brought my laptop all the
No.
time. But, I would then put in um, airport time, travel
Yes.
time, and
Yes.
then I'd lie to myself and say, I'll wake up in the morning before, getting done with the
Mm-hmm.
um, things of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, oh, I'll do that in the morning. Can I tell you, Nkiru? You're on holiday. You're so tired from the activities I'd be
Yeah.
waking up and it's time to go to breakfast. I did feel a little, though that's when I felt a little guilty, and the week
Yes.
would pass. But then I'd also remind myself that I'd work so hard, the 4 a.m.s
Mm.
and the
Mm.
Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I'd soon get over it. So
Mm-hmm.
as much as Fiona quite correctly said, I think it was easier to deal with the enjoyment guilt of every day because you've kind of compartmentalized your time. My family, friends knew, even when they'd ask if you'd meet on Saturday, they give me the option to choose the time. They say, we know you're studying, when can we meet? And so it would be any time after studies. And honestly, if you've gone and put in 4 hours of your day, you can definitely go out and enjoy the rest of your time. But for me, the biggest enjoyment guilt was on holidays because nothing got done, and I'd hoped that something would have been done. Yeah.
I almost, thanks, Lebo. I almost feel like I must give my audience warning that Fiona and Lebo are just two serious human beings. Hey, I can't tell you how much torment, unspoken torment that they gave me. But Tato,
That's
over
not a
to
fair
you.
comment.
No. Don't let's unpack both of you. Both of you are something else. Hey, we need a sequel to be able to unpack both of you. Very serious, very on point. Always look, I used to go to grind thinking, oh God, these girls, they just always had it together. But look, I'm going to put you both aside. Tato, they say that your business partner, your life partner are really important, decisions to take. But that the third most important decision on a PhD journey, actually the biggest, is who supervises you. Do you want to talk about supervision, who you worked with, what that's like? And feel free to share, stories you've heard from other persons as well.
Now the journey is it's ended, so I can be very frank. Look, my PhD journey. Look, at the beginning, I not necessarily, maybe my supervisor, we just didn't understand each other. He was just too brutal with the truth, I think. But I remember at one point, we're doing our presentation, and he's like, if you're doing your MBA, I'd say you're on your way to a distinction.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
But here you are just wasting your time. So what you did here, you've just wasted your time. Now you could hear a penny drop, like everyone. Now just to get that right mentality, say, what is this guy saying? Then it would happen, I give him my proposal. We arrange a sitting. That's 4 months down the line. He hasn't looked at my proposal. When we start discussing it, he tells me about some other peer as proposal. Like, no, man. But you've had this for 5 months, 6 months. So why? So until then, I was allocated another or a joint supervisor. I think she's, female. I think generally females have a softer touch. And I think, you just need someone to listen to. Even when you're wrong, no, you emphasize, find ways of downplaying it. So I think she got me to the end. Otherwise, I was really, really struggling with my main supervisor. To a point, even when we graduated, I think we just took one photo. Like, oh, you here? Come, photo. That was it. No, so yeah. So I don't think. The second supervisor, co-supervisor, I even told today, I appreciate that she came in at the right time. My main supervisor, on the other hand, for me it was just a nightmare, but very sharp. He used to give me constructive feedback, but it was just our working styles that I didn't appreciate how he worked, and I guess vice versa, and we needed someone to mediate, or so. But yeah, it was tough, but finally, it was done.
Right. So I follow a couple of, I used to have great PhD entertainment on Instagram, and I can share a couple of the links that I followed. I would laugh nonstop. I had people who told stories about their supervisors, and it used to make tears drum down my eyes, because some people had supervisors from hell, hey? And, you hear people say, no, I'm done now. I just changed no, I'm not going to have it. I'm going around looking for someone who will supervise me. But I think on my part, I think on balance, my supervisor was amazing. I have to say that because she's from an area that is just next to me, which is West African, she could also be a little spicy. and it'll be spicing feedback, you know. So I'll get her work back and it'll take me weeks to open it up, because some of the comments used to make me think, hey, but I'm a big executive in the banking sector. What's going on here? What type of feedback is this? You know, I think one of the feedback that really rattled me was when we started, I would hear things like, this is not a business writing. This is an academic writing. You are not writing proposals in your office. I'm like, God Almighty, how, you know, what's the difference? But at least that forced me to take, you know, proposals, look at them, you know, and look at other people's work and see how it's done. But yes, indeed, if you are listening to this, you know, who supervises you is the key to success. So I think 2 more questions for the ladies, and then we'll do rapid questions and then we wrap up. So, Labor, what are the tools that you cannot do without? I can tell you a couple of tools that both of you introduced me to at Grind. I don't want to get ahead of you, but just in terms of the work, the actual hand, you know, on the computer, as we say, boots on ground, what are the actual tools you cannot do without if you are writing or researching?
So I think one of the biggest one, and you would have seen, you said it in the beginning, 2 computers. You can, but listen, your life is different and much better with 2 screens. So while I have a screen at home and I have a second screen at the office, these are plugged in. So now you need to invest in a portable screen. This Fiona introduced me to change my life. And so no matter where you go, it's there with you side by side. I mean, you're reading multiple documents, you're trying to write and read at the same time. The last thing you want to do is be tabbing and changing between and trying to figure out which tab you're on. So that's the first physical thing that you need. So that's the first tool. So game changer, I must say, for me. I learned a little late, but I think, Kiru, you often said, I'm too self-sufficient. And so I was doing my own referencing until about chapter 4. Please get a reference management tool.
Yeah.
It will save your life.
Yes.
I don't know what I was doing before then.
Yes.
But I shouldn't have been doing it. So for me, it was Zotero. It can be Mendeley. It
Yes, I
can
think it
be
was you who showed me Zotero. I was going to jump
EndNote.
into your mouth. It was you, I think.
Life-changing. So that's the first one. It's a management tool, and it's that second screen. And just be in touch with your library. They will help you navigate the searching and the articles. If you're a student that is registered, you have so many resources at your fingertips. So I think that's another tool. Tool is using your library and also just using the resources that are available. There's writing workshops, there's writing this. I think those are tools as well, you know, that work with you. I'll say for me, structured, I must say, I'm quite a
Hey,
structured
hey.
person. This tool is more of a soft tool. I had a you can have a board, you can have a paper on your wall, but just write your milestones so that when you hit them, you can tick them, or as you work, you know what you're working towards. So for me, that worked out as a tool because it kind of located where I was and where I was going, and it really motivates you to keep going. You know, I had chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and as each one is done, I say completed and I write the date, or first revision submitted and I write the date. So you need wins, hey? You need as many wins as possible. So ticking something off is a win. So use that as a tool as well. Not so much of a technical, but a management tool. So those are my tools.
Right. Good stuff. Thank you. I suppose I've told them repeatedly. There's a phrase in Nigeria called efiko, which is EFIKO. And that's the word that I would use is a slang really to describe you and Fiona. But Fiona, over to you. If you had to do this again, and I mean, I actually don't say it with caution because I don't trust you. I feel like in another 1 year, I'll be talking to you and you're doing a second PhD. But if you had to do this again, what would you do differently?
You're right not to trust me, because I also don't trust
No,
myself.
I don't trust you.
I
I
don't
know
trust
you.
myself. So I need you guys to stop me and keep me in check. But I think definitely agree on the second screen. That was a life changer.
Okay.
And referencing software. It just, I can tell you, I learned about referencing software when I was doing my MBA. And when I started doing my PhD, I assumed that it was a standard for everyone. And it blew my mind that people had hundreds of references literally on Word. Like I could not understand how you can manage
I did. It was She Talk is a thorough.
I could not understand how these people are doing it with Word. It to me, it just blew my mind. So I keep preaching the message of referencing software. And then just to add on to that, Google Scholar, I think is an amazing tool if you use it well. So you have Google Scholar, that you'll get when you just log in with your with your normal account, if you have a Gmail account. But if you log in with your school account, it literally opens up another world of articles that you can access, because you just see them straight there and you can download them. Because the frustration with just going in blind, just as any regular person, is that a lot of those articles are paid for. But when you log in with your school account and your school has access to all these resources, you're able to get so much more out of Google Scholar. So I love Google Scholar. It worked for me so well, but supercharge it by logging in with your school account. Otherwise, just I used to have a set of my laptop bag for school, and that had my personal laptop, my second screen, my other plug, and my mouse and my mouse pad, and that nothing interfered with that bag. So on Saturdays, I would be, in the morning, I would be going to this specific bag. So that really helped me to be organized.
Right. Thanks, Fee. Thanks, guys. I've had a good time, and I'm not wrapping up, not without rapid questions. So I think rapid questions for all three of you. And I think I will start with Tatu. So Tatu, what type of relationship have you got with AI? Love, caution, love, hate, love, caution. So you're loving AI with some caution, love, hate. You tell us. Tato, you have only 1 second to answer this. You should have selected your...
Please repeat. I think I missed you there.
Okay, so what type of relationship do you have with, or did you have with AI on your journey? Love, caution, love, hate. So cautious love or love, hate?
Cautious love.
Cautious love, hey? Okay.
I'm a very traditionalist, because I keep telling, in my room, I still have articles. I think they're in 2 boxes, because I struggle working on a computer. So I first need to read, make all notes on the side, then used very minimal IT, so to say. I mean, even at work, I find it very difficult to work on the screen. So I have to work on the side, then I'll come back to this.
Transfer. Okay, so cautious love was definitely the right response for you.
Yeah.
And I think, Fiona, what one adjective would you use to describe the PhD journey? Just one word, just one adjective. You're not allowed more than one.
Roller coaster.
Roller coaster. I agree. So up some days and down some days. So I think, Labor, if you had to give one advice to someone who's saying, I don't know, I know, I have a 9 to 5, I run a business, should I not? What's the one advice you would give this person?
If you're not willing to put in the time consistently, then reconsider it.
Nice. Okay.
It's time.
All right. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. And, you know, I almost have to ask your forgiveness for calling you randomly Tato after 4 years of study. Tato, Fiona, label. But I think before we round up, it will be so important to say respectfully, thank you so much, Dr. Tato Shuping. Thank you so much, Dr. Fiona Kigen. Thank you so much, Dr. Matubaba. It's been such a pleasure to speak to you. I feel like we need a sequel because there's no way we're just talking randomly about 3.5 years, 4 years. So I hope that when I extend the invitation to a sequel, you will come through. Does anyone want to say a final word just before we sign off?
No, just to say thank you. And I think it's a really important thing you're doing here. You know, a PhD is very intimidating. So however you can do to break it down for people and to make it look doable is you're doing the Lord's work.
Thank you. Thank you so much, team. And see you again. Cheers, cheers.
Thanks, Guru. Bye, everyone.